Good morning. The time is now 9:30. I will call the August 11th, 2020 meeting of the Millcreek Township Board of Supervisors to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This meeting is being televised live on the Millcreek Township Emergency Management Facebook page. The public will be able to participate in the public comment portions of the meeting by calling in to 833-1111, extension 380. This meeting is also being recorded by WQLN and is broadcast on Spectrum Channel 1024 and YouTube.com with closed captioning available. Next, we will take any public comment on agenda items other than development or rezoning applications. Hearing no comment, we'll move on to approval of the minutes from our July 28th, 2020 regular meeting. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes from that meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Arlett?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes. Approval of the bills. Do I hear a motion to approve payment batch, latest of the bills?
So moved.
And I'll second.
Mr. Arlett?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes. Next up, bids and quotations. Metal mats or frames. Mr. Snyder?
Morning, gentlemen. Building and Grounds Safety Commission purchased new metal mats and grading for the front entrance. These mats and grading are original to the building upgrade from 2 years ago. The system is proprietary, so we were able to get 3 quotes for it. Cost would be $8,950, and it comes from Material Distributors Incorporated, and is the budgeted item. It would be my recommendation to purchase the metal mats and grading from Material Distributors at the cost of $8,950.
Thank you. Do I hear a motion to approve the purchase of the metal mats?
I'll make that motion.
Okay. Do I hear a second to that?
I'll second.
Mr. Arlett?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan?
I vote yes.
I vote yes. Walk behind line painter. Gary?
The Traffic and Electrical Department seeking permission to purchase a Graco B5900 walk behind line painter from Sherwood Williams Company for $8,474.17 under the Coast Guard contract number 008-100. This item would be used for painting crosswalks, turning arrows, and car bars in the township parking lot. This would be replacing our current 18-year-old striker, which fell into disrepair while in use earlier this season, and because of the age, it can no longer be replaced. There are monies in the budget to cover the cost of this item. It would be my recommendation to purchase the line painter from Sherwood Williams Company for $8,474.17 under the contract number 008-100.
Thank you. Do I hear a motion to approve the purchase of this line painter as stated?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second on that?
I'll second.
Mr. Arlett?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan?
I vote yes.
I vote yes.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Bids and quotes, next up, referred to as the Roto Chopper. Mr. Arlett.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A request from Jessica Stutzman from our recycling department. The purchase of a grinder shredder for the Millfair Compost Center. The Compost Center currently utilizes a 13-year-old Beast Bandit grinder to chip incoming brush daily. Frequent breakdowns and expensive repairs have made the purchase of a new grinder necessary for operations. 3 models were demonstrated on site this year. First was the Moorbark shredder at $667,559. Second, the Beast Bandit at $564,745.80. And third, the Roto Chopper at $553,099. The recycling department is requesting the purchase of the Roto Chopper FP66 wheeled grinder. The cost of this piece of equipment is $553,099 under the CoStar's ID 0000519560. The Roto Chopper meets all needs, also coming in at the lowest cost. This purchase is funded through a DEP Grant 902 from 2018, 2020, and 2022. And I'll put that request in a form of a motion for approval.
Okay. Do I hear a second on that?
I have a question.
Yes,
Mr.
Mr.
Letter,
Morgan.
maybe Mr. Zuchewski. I thought we already purchased one of these large pieces of equipment to replace the Beast 2 years ago or last year, or is this the same item that we're just now?
No, we bought the windrow turner last year, I believe
Uh-huh.
it was. And this is the Beast replacement. For whatever reason, DEP is allowing the 902 grants to be strung together. And actually, this particular piece of equipment will be fully paid for between the 2018 and the 2020 grants, because it's $553,000. And you've got, no wait, it's going to have to go to the 2022 grant with the additional $18,000.
Do we need to front the cost of general fund?
Yes, we'd be covering it. Well, actually, what we'll be doing is borrowing money and cash flowing the loans, so that we've got $84,000 put down on the piece of equipment. So we would borrow the balance, and then when we get the $350,000 for the 2020 grant, we would pay $350,000 of the loan off, leaving a balance of $18,000, which we end up having to fund through the 2020 grant cycle.
Are we utilizing the Erie Development Authority Municipal Loan Fund, or are we going out for private? What are we doing?
We could do, I don't know if the loan, well, it'd be less than $500,000. We could probably, I'm going to put it out for bid. I mean, it's out there for bid, and I don't know why the redevelopment authority doesn't, respond back to those. But I'm not opposed, we can use whatever source, doesn't really matter. I haven't approached the redevelopment authority at this point yet, because they didn't have their purchase finalized until now.
We purchased this same type of equipment in the past, correct?
Yeah, different manufacturer, but same basic concept.
Yeah, and the reimbursement process was the same, through the grants.
Yes.
Okay. But this year, or this go-around, we're doing a financing, or a,
Just to cash flow it, because
right, just to
it's so much money. I think that the original Beast was less money, and they were able to fit it in within one grant. But because this is being strung out over 3 grants, it's a bit more problematic.
okay.
You said we're out for bids right now for the loan. When do you anticipate the responses coming in for that?
Pardon me?
You said we're going out for bid for the loans. Is that what we're doing?
Yes, and I can contact the redevelopment authority directly to see if they're interested in this as well. Actually, if they're interested, I would not need to advertise the bid because it's a governmental authority and therefore bidding is not required. We'd save the bid cost. The advertising cost.
I'll second the motion to approve the purchase.
Mr. Arlett?
How about yes?
Mr. Morgan?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes. Erie Golf Course irrigation repair. McDan?
Yes. A request from Ashley Marsteller from Parks and Rec. Parks and Rec department is seeking approval for the completion of the repairs of the irrigation system at Erie Golf Course. Irrigation Technical Service Company has been servicing the course and its irrigation system over the past several weeks and is recommended to complete this work. The estimate for completing the irrigation repair work is $7,978.50 and includes materials needed and labor. A portion of this expense, $5,000, will be taken from the golf course expense account within the Parks and Rec operations budget, and the remaining $2,978.50 will be taken from the park's capital budget surplus. It's Ashley's recommendation of the approval of the completion of repair of the irrigation communication system at Erie Golf Course by Irrigation Technical Service Company. I'll make a motion for approval on that.
Okay, do I hear a second on that motion?
I'll second.
Mr. Arlett?
How about yes?
Mr. Morgan?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes. Number 7 on our agenda, Resolution 2020-R47, a resolution pursuant to Resolution 2015-R20 and the Municipal Records Manual to approve proposed disposition of certain township records. Today we have the Millcreek Police Department dash cam videos between August 12th, 2020 and August 25th, 2020 to be deleted due to reaching the end of their retention period. I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2020-R47.
I'll second.
Mr. Arlett?
How about yes?
Mr. Morgan?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes. Number 8, Resolution 2020-R48, a resolution of the taxing district to approve an agreement among the County of Erie, Erie County Tax Claim Bureau, and the law firm of McDonald, Illig, Jones, and Britton, LLP. Mr. Shaw?
Yes, in February of this year, the county and the Tax Claim Bureau selected McDonald, Jones, and Britton as the law firm to handle the annual county tax sales for 2020, 2021, and 2022. The county is requesting that all the tax bodies sign off on this agreement. So before you is a resolution provided by the county that it would like you to approve, which has the agreement attached as an exhibit. The resolution authorizes the chairman to execute any documents necessary by the county for the agreement and the solicitor and other officials of the township to take such actions as necessary under the agreement. It's my understanding that the agreement effectively hasn't changed the process that they've been following. If you recall, the township has some special provisions that are followed that will continue to be implemented for purposes of the tax sales.
Any questions or comments on this proposed resolution?
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2020-R48.
And I'll second.
Mr. Arlett?
How about yes?
Mr. Morgan?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes. Number 9 on our agenda, Indemnity Agreement, 5624 Peach Street, excuse me, Dunkin' Donuts, Baldwin Brothers Developer. Matt Waldinger?
Thank you. Good morning. Yes, Baldwin Brothers Incorporated, who owns 5624 Peach Street, has been in contact with the township. They're renovating the farthest east space in that plaza there, the old Northwest Savings Bank, into a Dunkin' Donuts. Part of that will require them to do some stormwater work in which they will be tying into the PennDOT storm sewer system on Peach Street. Due to PennDOT regulations, they are making the township responsible for that connection to the system. And as such, we have developed a process where we get an agreement with the developer who indemnifies the township for those of those responsibilities and takes them on themselves. As part of that agreement, the developer also puts up an escrow in order that if they don't complete the repairs that are required, the township has the money to do so. Baldwin Brothers Incorporated has filled out an indemnification agreement with the township. They've signed it. They've submitted their escrow, which in this case is $10,000. The agreement has been reviewed by the township solicitor, and so at this time we would recommend that the chairman sign the agreement with Baldwin Brothers to indemnify the township for this storm sewer connection.
Thank you, sir. Any questions or comments on this indemnity agreement?
Well, Matt, you mentioned that the township's responsible, so are we actually fronting the costs for the connection, or is the developer doing that?
The developer is doing all the work, but due to PennDOT regulations, anytime anyone privately taps into one of their storm sewer systems, they make the municipality responsible for that connection. So this is to cover any future maintenance, repairs, anything needed for this.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the indemnity agreement with Baldwin Brothers.
And I'll second.
Mr. Owlett,
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan,
How about yes?
and I also vote yes. Number 10 on our agenda, LERTA application for 4102 Westridge Road. Matt?
Thank you. Yes, we have received a LERTA application for Westridge Estates, which are the new apartments being built at 4102 Westridge Road. The developer is Robert Sessler. The development includes 3 buildings, 2 5-unit buildings and 1 11-unit building. A portion of this development is located in the LERTA area, and the estimated cost of improvements for the entire project is $1,900,000. The application has been reviewed by the Planning and Development Department, and it is our recommendation that we grant partial approval of the LERTA application. Approximately 22.8% of the development is located within the LERTA area. If granted, this LERTA would apply to only 22.8% of the assessed value minus the assessed value of the land itself after completion of the project.
Okay, I have a question. Is so the applicant is aware of this?
Yes.
Of the 22.8%?
Yes, the LERTA district does not encompass the entire property. It cuts through a portion, and there's only a portion of the new improvements that'll be inside the LERTA district.
Okay. Thank you, Matt. Any other questions or comments from the board?
Matt, is the action we're taking, is it to approve either your signature authority or the chairman's signature authority on a permit application, or what's the document?
The action we are taking would be to approve the township's granting of LERTA for this project.
Right.
It also has to go to the other taxing bodies, the school district and Erie County, for them to approve
Right,
their
but what
portion.
I'm asking is what documentation does the county require from us if this has happened? Just the minutes of our meeting, a standing resolution, or giving someone the authority to sign off on the permit application?
I believe it's us signing off on the application, which is included here. Yeah, I don't believe that there's a formal resolution or anything required. It's just the board's approval at this meeting.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the LERTA application for 4102 Westridge Road and authorize any further action necessary by the Department of Planning to process the application.
I'll second.
Mr. Owlett,
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan,
I vote yes.
and I vote yes. Next up is erosion and floodplain general release for 5053 Sir Hugh Drive. Mr. Shaw?
Yes, this relates to a property that recently obtained a variance to construct a deck within a floodplain area under our code. You need to obtain a variance to construct within certain distances of a floodplain area. The deck in question fell within that. The township requested as part of that process that the property owners execute a release to protect the township from any claims in the future related to these folks building within the floodplain. Once this is executed, it would be recorded to put future property owners on notice. So at this point, I'd recommend that you execute or approve execution of this document. If you recall, this was the project where originally they were going to build a pool that was within the area, and then after further discussion, they agreed to move the location of the pool to what we viewed as a much safer location.
Okay, thank you, sir. Any comments or questions?
I'll make a motion to approve the erosion and floodplain general release for the property at 5053 Sir Hugh Drive.
I will second.
Mr. Arlett?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes. Cdbg CARES Act Funding Agreement. Mr. Walding?
Thank you. As the board is aware, the township received $153,527 in additional community development block grant funds under the CARES Act. Township has submitted an application in order to distribute that money to 3 different recipients: the Second Harvest Food Bank, Meals on Wheels, and the Certified Nursing Alliance. As part of that distribution, there is a new agreement from the Department of Housing and Urban Development that needs to be approved and signed by the chairman. There are special regulations relating to the CARES Act funds that are over and above the normal community development block grant regulations. Nothing too onerous. They've been reviewed by the solicitor. It's mostly time limits and ensuring that we don't duplicate funding to a source that's already receiving funds from some other CARES Act program. So at this time, we'd like to recommend that the chairman be authorized to sign the agreement with the Department of Housing and Urban Development. It is an electronic signature, so it's something that you'd have to fill out and we would submit electronically.
Okay. Thank you, Matt. Any questions or comments on this CARES Act funding agreement? Do I hear a motion to approve
So moved.
said agreement?
And I'll second.
Mr. Arlett?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes. Number 13 on our agenda, amendment to the agreement between the Millcreek Police Department and the Erie County Department of Health. Request from Police Chief Scott Height, requesting approval to amend the contract with the Erie County Department of Health to conduct additional tobacco enforcement within Millcreek Township. Attorney Shaw has reviewed the amended contract that is attached. Is that correct, Attorney Shaw? You have reviewed this?
Yes.
Okay. This is an amendment to the agreement between our police department and the Department of Health for tobacco enforcement, which is done. This is typically done on an annual basis, but can be periodically done for enforcement action where the police department, in conjunction with minors, go into establishments that sell tobacco and attempt to purchase tobacco products. An officer is accompanying them, nearby, you should say, and then if there's a violation, they take the appropriate action and enforcement through the Department of Health. Any questions or comments about that? Okay. Do I hear a motion to approve this amendment to the agreement?
I'll make the motion.
Okay. Do I hear a second on that?
I'll second.
Mr. Arlett?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes. Okay, communications, Treasurer Communications, anything further, Mark?
Nothing further.
Thank you. Our executive sessions were held July 31st, 2020 and August 6th, 2020. Mr. Shaw, anything further?
Nothing further, mine.
Okay, citizens to be heard. Any citizens in the audience like to speak today? No? Okay, if anyone wants to call in to the 833-1111, extension 380, we will open the phone line up at this time. Okay, hearing no calls, do I hear a motion to adjourn this meeting?
So moved.
Second?
We are adjourned at 9:56.